Unbelievable.
I don't know how to describe this.
Up-tempo, UK funky-esque, slightly techno-y.
I really love this tune. It's a great tune.
This was a French little thing I found.
And it's just a really cool find.
Bit quirky.
Possibly a future classic.
I know he's like pretty mainstream now.
You know that track you just listened to once and I'm buying it straight away. Like that was the one.
Today I found one which is like a record that I've been playing a lot, many years. It's the Underground Resistance. I've seen the video of them playing live this track, and the guy there playing all the keyboards, unbelievable. And you always wonder how they make these tracks, and there's actually the guy playing live, and like it used to be, like it should be, like making music, it should be original people playing the keyboards and not relying on samples and all that stuff. I've been DJ for 26 years. I've been coming to this shop for, I don't know, maybe for over 15 years. So I woke up this morning, and I had an email from one of my favorite artists and labels. 4 of my tracks got not signed, but they got shortlisted by the label, so hopefully we'll hear from them. I don't want to say names, but should I say the name?
Say it.
It's Luciano from Cadenza, so hopefully we'll hear a lot from me soon.
I really love this tune. It's a great tune. I've got it on 7, like a 7-inch at home, but it's like on 2 sides. So it's really difficult to DJ with that. So when I saw it on 12, I was like, I'm gonna get that on 12. And then I've got some OJ's stuff. This has got Backstabs on it, which is a great tune. So Philadelphia Independent Records, obviously a massive label, really just the birthplace of disco, I would say. Like a lot of it was like quite funky, soul-y stuff, like when it first started in like the late 60s. And then kind of as it progressed, it got very disco-y, like loads of people on it, like the OJs, Teddy Pendergrass, who's another one of my favorite artists, like loads of people on that. And everything I find on this label is like absolute gold. And then I've got the Mr. Bongos edit, which is a great tune, and I picked this up because I've wanted it for a while, and it's the first time I've seen it in person, so I grabbed that. Luke Uno, he's like a prolific DJ at this point, I think. He's a really cool guy. Obviously he played with the Unobombers like back in the day. And like, he played at my friend Vinny's Public House Hi-Fi thing in Newcastle upon Tyne. And he was like the nicest dude. Like, I bothered him for like half an hour just talking about records. Really nice guy. And I think he's just like a big inspiration to a lot of DJs at the moment as well. Like, it's kind of the way he sort of does things, and with the internet and everything is brilliant.
I have bought Repetitions EP by Joe Milley, which is on Liberty Sound, which is Peverlist's label from Bristol. As an old sort of first generation dubstep fan, it's in that lineage, but this is very much sort of up-tempo, UK funky-esque, slightly techno-y, or the low end. I do a radio show, so this is to play on my radio show. The show that I run is called The Special Request. It is essentially a sort of exploration of the hardcore continuum, Lionel Reynolds' theory of electronic music in the UK from 1988 onwards, specifically focusing on anything that kind of runs off garage, both before garage and after garage, and where we're at now. Got an older sister, she was big into jungle. I got into jungle as a 13, 14-year-old. A couple of big albums by Goldie and Ronnie Size and Represent came out in the late 90s. That's my sort of big introduction to that. And yeah, just I'm a retired raver from that scene, I guess, but I've been buying records ever since. So moving house is a real hassle, yeah. Every last Friday of the month, Love Will Save the Day, FM. My show's a special request, 9 till 11, tune in.
We've been looking into getting another turntable so that we can mix. So when we came in here today, we were just looking for like house records that we can mix with. So we're really excited about this one. Something we can dance to for sure. It's 90s Italo house. It said that first pressings of this go for a pretty penny, as they described it. This is also Italo house, Escape from New York, so I think it has New York influence, but I don't know how to describe this. There's only one track on side A called Save Our Love, which felt very blissful and something I want to dance to, so excited about this one.
Promises are only good in fairy tales. Change, too many control. Change.
I would say they're almost industrial goth-like dance records that have been re-edited for now, and probably he's picked out more of the funky element to them. It reminds me of things that were probably being played at Medusa Club in Chicago. And it also reminds me of a bunch of really old edits called Medusa edits. I mean, that was a club in Chicago around about the same time as Music Box Ron Hardy, I believe, but it was very much almost more of a goth industrial body music type club. But a lot of the more industrial beats are coming out of that. Obviously crossed over into Warehouse, Ron Hardy, Chicago. So there is a definite crossover, definitely of drum patterns, drum rhythms, and a lot of that stuff is great. I mean, my background, I also love people like The Cure, things like that from my early on in background, so I can quite easily cross over into that as well. But if you look at the roots of Chicago house music, that heavily influenced it, and it doesn't get talked about that much, but yeah, Medusa Club. And there are these old, yeah, amazing series of edits called Medusa edits that sound like they were done off tapes, but you couldn't play them out, but they're great to listen to, and this reminded me of that. But it was actually even better, I think. Interestingly, I'm not always a fan of edits. I mean, they've got to be done so well. It's quite saturated how many there are, but this one was more of a remake, and I loved it. It was Everybody All Over the World, which is obviously an old house record, which could have come from a disco record before that, I don't know. But what he or she has done, is create almost a beatless new version of it, very piano-led. But it sounds like more of a piece of music than a dance track. And there's one which is completely beatless and one which has got very subtle percussion, and they're incredible. They're the sort of things, again, there's probably 300 of these. That's why when I was Bandcamp, there was no download. So I was like, right, I'm coming in this morning to get it. And it's the sort of thing you could play and listen to that forever, and it's gonna sound great.
This was a French little thing I found. Not really sure who the artist is, but I just heard it, and it's like about something like 6 tracks on there, all different, all mellow, all chilled, perfect for my radio shows. It's by Alex Brax as well, co-written by Alex Brax. He's well known, everyone knows him. Well, if you do, you've got to check him out. This is another one I picked up, Nicola Conti and Nicola, a beautiful deep number. I've been following these guys for a little while, and they've got an album that's come out a little while ago, and anything that comes out by these guys, I just grab them. I think it's an edit, but it's a friend of mine who's done this. He's on the edit. Clive from Accounts, he's from London. If you don't know about him, really dropping some really good tracks. This is a beautiful kind of edit he's done, and yeah, heard it, and this is the only store I found it in, so I had to get it quick. You know, like these records, you got to grab them like hotcakes, you know, so yeah, happy days.
So she is a world-renowned poet and soul singer who has been around for at least the last 25 years. She's somebody that I've grown up with who represents a lot for me culturally and spiritually. And I've been waiting for this album for a really long time, which is 15 years prior to her last release. So it's the last one. Yay. The next one is James Brown, which I grew up listening to. I think most people have, and he's just about good soul funk vibes, dancing around in the kitchen. So I thought I'd get that, so whenever I'm cooking, I can just put it on and vibe out. So yeah. And I've been singing since I was 3. My family's really musical, and so I sing like neo soul, R&B, jazz type of stuff, and yeah, it's my life. It's my threads to my soul.
I saw some soldiers sellotaped to the floor, and that intrigued me. And then I noticed the Field Maneuvers poster above me, and I'm repping the Field Maneuvers t-shirt today. So yeah, then I noticed the record shop next to me as I gradually noticed things, and I bought a stack of records, including Dan's Tripping, TSVI, I think it's Dutch, I don't know, some kind of bassy anthem. But very, very good fun, and yeah, nice shop, nice people, good music. Field Maneuvers is a fantastic festival, tagline, Dirty Little Rave. Again, not for profit, just for vibes. In a field in Norfolk, very small, very good people, not owned by a big corporation, house party in a field, you should go.
Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you.
Well, so this is a re-release of an old El Saturn 45 with Sun Ra on the qualities. This one is rare vocal 45s that he put out. You know, most people know him as a jazz artist. He actually backed a lot of R&B people, some great vocal quartet stuff, and just a little different side of Sonny and Sun Ra that most people don't know. So I always love finding these things. Strut Records does a great job doing some of these re-releases, and it's just a really cool find here. And yeah, I just pick these up wherever I go. So. I am here visiting London because we were putting on Sun Ra Day Festival here in London, and just wrapped up Sun Ra Day Festival Birmingham, where I'm from, in Alabama. And so I'm here exploring the city, going around trying to grab cool Sun Ra memorabilia that I find here, there, and yon, and also just explore the city and hang out. And we got actually the city of Birmingham and the state of Alabama to make May 22nd, which is his arrival day in Birmingham, officially Sun Ra Day in both Birmingham and the state of Alabama.
Well, I don't know. And from here, I really can't tell.
But also work for a record label called Earth Libraries, which is who put on Sun Ra Day Festival. And we release new music from around the world, every genre imaginable. And we also do re-releases and archival stuff, which I'm a big part of, and trying to find really cool recordings that either didn't make it out far enough into the world that we're trying to help get to new audiences, or stuff that never made it out in general. And so we're always digging around in crates and also in people's basements and attics looking for reel-to-reels and old tapes of anything we can find, and trying to find cool shit to bring to the people.
Can you feel the
from my point of view, possibly a future classic. It's from Nicolas Cruz. It has a little bit more minimal, housey A side and a bit more aggressive electro and breakbeat B side, which is for my taste. So as I'm also a record label owner, and I only press vinyls that have a little bit of electro and breakbeat to it. So this is my music for my soul.
I like big.
It's called Katerinka. It's an edit, breakbeat, electro edit label. We only press 300 records per label. And actually, we were included by Discogs in one of the most collectible records of last year. So you can find us at really high prices, unfortunately, on Discogs. We only press to break even, and when it's done, it's done. So you only find it on Discogs.
This one just immediately, like kind of, I don't know, just stuck out to me immediately. I put it on, I think the first track, Arisen. What a track, super ambient, very like Chris Stussy, like ambient, huge drop, nice respace. Like, yeah, I think you know that track you just listened to once and I'm buying it straight away. Like that was the one. So that was I listened to about 2 tracks and I was like, yeah, done, sold. Very ambient. That's what I'm really kind of leaning into, like a deep house kind of vibe. But yeah, that was perfect. Yeah.
Came in store with no idea what we were going to get. This is Hard Loco, pretty cool guy. Found him on Instagram actually. Does loads of like weird live stuff on Gene's label. Pretty cool, so picked it up. Bit quirky. First record's like a speedy garage kind of nice little thing. And then it goes into a bit more kind of like groovy stuff, which is pretty decent. Fell in love with Gene back in Dimensions, 2018 maybe? At the Void, I think it would have been at the stage there. Just absolutely incredible, loved his label since. This was picked up by my partner. She's into proper like disco-y stuff. We sort of meet in the middle at the sort of like electronic disco stuff. This is a Purple Disco Machine record, nice sort of acid tones. I think it's just a single-sided, really nice, really bouncy, just proper good vibe.
I think hearing this as like a 7, 8-year-old, everything from Honey, like Find My Baby, which I think was used in like a lot of advertising, to Porcelain, which I think everyone is using at the moment in their Instagram videos and reels, etc. But there's just so many great songs on this album. It's one of the best albums I think I've ever heard. I was just so taken away with that at such a young age, and obviously been listening to it on like Apple Music and Spotify. Remember listening to it on the iPod. I think I had an iPod Mini when that first came out. And so I've just bought all these songs over and over again on all the different mediums. So actually having it as like a record is fantastic. I think I'll keep this for a long time.
The reason I bought this is because of the Josh Baker remix. Like, he's one of the first people I started listening to when I got into house. I know he's like pretty mainstream now, but this one's like more of his old sound, like good production, like nice, deep, like heavy sound. So yeah, that's why I bought this one. I'm building up my vinyl collection. It's the beginning of a very expensive journey, as I've been told. I've been listening to this like on digital for ages, and when I saw it here, I just thought I'd pick it up.
They released an album, or a couple of albums, in the early to mid-90s. And we're on that ambient, Birmingham ambient scene, and I kind of liked it, all that stuff. So, beyond records. So when I saw it today, I thought, I'll have that. The first record I remember really liking was called Freight Train by Chas McDavitt when I was about 3. Because it was better than nursery rhyme shit. The first record I ever bought was 19th Nervous Breakdown by the Rolling Stones. First album I bought was Rubber Soul by the Beatles. Of course, being young, I like that sort of stuff. The Kinks, Yardbirds, Pretty Things, that British R&B scene. And then just when I left school, which I left school early, at 15, with my first pay packet, I bought Miles Davis In a Silent Way and Happy Trails by Quicksilver Messenger Service. And I don't know, just bought records ever since.
Necktie.